puppy dogs.
Wowie, dowie, dowie.
Your destination is on the left.
Where should I park?
I shut you off once. I'm parking.
Right in front of the garage door. Yeah, we're not gonna be here long. Watch out, pup. Uh-oh.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Good to see you again.
What happened, man?
What do you want happened?
He's got crutches there.
Oh, Peglet. Too much soccer.
Jeez. All right. You guys are boiling, huh?
He's our mascot. Proud of the broken leg.
There's our 2 drums.
Yeah, we
Stick them right in there.
we boiled some sap that was left over. We didn't want it to go bad, so we threw it in the evaporator and made it above syrup.
Nice.
This is what we're making today.
Can I try some? Wow, that's like clear.
Light. Yeah.
That's the clearest syrup I've seen in a while.
Yeah, we went right back to almost golden. I think it's going to golden here in a minute.
I taste it.
It's it's a
I
little.
call it corn. To me, that tastes like corn.
I call it early stages of going. It was
It's
worse
not,
3 days
yeah,
ago.
like to me, this is what we call C1.
yeah.
It's there.
Light processing is what they called it at Runamuck a few years ago. And that's what they should all call it. If
So
this
to
was-
me, there's a difference between this, like, this is, look, so this stuff here is usable. This is like barely starting to turn. So if a man sells me his whole crop, I don't dig him for this. But if a man brings me nothing but this, then that's not fair because, you know, he's just giving me the stuff he won't pack and sell, right? So
Exactly.
I don't dig, but we have the discernment or discretion to do it. And we call this C1 in our book.
Yep, that's what I would. Yeah.
So C1 is I pay prime
Yep.
because it's not really going to affect the blend.
Right.
But when it gets, you know, the next step, you know, it's more like $1.50 a pound.
Yeah.
You know, like this is, you know, if I bought a whole crop, I wouldn't dig him in for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
It's to protect both, you know.
That's pretty much how most of that.
Yeah, I don't want to be a dumping ground for this stuff, but if I bought a whole crop, it's fine. So here's a question for you. Have you been getting more visitors since that video?
Not really. I'm pretty proud out here. It's pretty lucky.
Now you're the reason my YouTube channel took off. It's a lot colder here than it is up north.
Oh yeah, we're on the colder side. So this Connecticut River Valley, the cold air will sink into it and won't get over to the east side of the mountains. So there's a lot of times where they're 50 degrees, 55 up there and up in Franklin County, and we're down here 30, 35 and miserable rain and that. But you know what? It's good weather to make good syrup. And see, we had no snow on the ground at all. I've never seen a year. I've seen the sap rejuvenate, but this year was amazing. Like, we thought we were going to be just petering out 3 or 4 days. Went from 1-1, 1-0, right up to 1-5, cleared up. And our spouts are now 3.5 months old. Almost, they're pushing 4 months. Next week will be 4 months.
And they're still running.
Still running well. 5-year-old tubing system on some of it. Some of the first stuff we tapped was.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
That was a warm area. So there were smaller trees, south exposures, 5-year-old crops, just running like they did back in December.
No, come on
A
now.
little slower, but not much. But everything's slowing. So, you know,
But that can't happen.
you run your tubing right.
Are you sure the laws of physics apply here?
Maybe
Do
not.
you see time travelers?
No. It's a lot of extra work to run your tubing to make that happen. It's
Right.
not how you run your tubing. And we do is, you know, we have the monitor system. So when we see at night when it starts to freeze up, we do not turn our vacuum down. Because you do that, it won't freeze. So the next day, you turn it up, all those leaks are still there. So we write down all the ones that start to freeze up first. Sometimes it'll freeze up due to an inversion, but most of the times, the first ones that freeze up, it's due to a leak. And
Gotcha.
you go right up the line, you know which line it is. You find the frosted saddle or spin seal. We have a gallon jug, dump the hot water on it, free it up and figure out, is it the saddle or is it there's usually a spout on the line, especially with the spin seal. Because our spin seals have all been proven before we ever start the season. So, yeah. So that's what we do. And I think if you don't let your sap back up, you keep all your freeze outs, we thaw them before it thawed, before it's warm. We'll go up there as soon as it's like 28, 30, we're already thawing those lines out. So nothing backs up. And we have check valve spouts, so that helps. Everything to keep it from backing up. All the tubing run on the south sides. You were here, 25 degrees. We were getting quite a bit of sap.
Yeah, I remember.
You gotta have a freeway to the sugar house at all times with the sap. And that's how you keep your spouts.
Is this camp here?
Yeah, this is my summer home.
Gotcha.
Got a mini split. So we ran power 2,000 feet up here, plus internet. I figured out how to get internet up here. I put the split in there, which is nice. So
It's got an upstairs?
yeah, it's got 2 bedrooms upstairs. It's pretty simple,
Sure.
but it's really nice. And we can watch movies and hang out on the lawn here.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have internet. I think we're going to do something with some of the temperature. It's kind of nice when you have an inversion. This is about 300-400 feet higher than the sugar house.
This is 300 feet high,
Yeah,
right?
they're about 300. I think we're at about probably 12, 1150, 12 days. Sugar house is about 850.
So what is it that we're going to see?
So what we're going to go see is the 12-volt pumping station.
12 volt
12 volt pumping station.
Okay.
So the cabin, when I ran power to that 4 or 5 years ago, we kept going another 2,000 feet. That was 2,000 feet. We went another 2,000 feet. We set up a pump station. So we had power on that. And what we did was we didn't want to have to run a pipeline all the way back a mile to release the sap and pump it. So what we did was we pumped within the vacuum. So we set up 2 releasers so we could clean one while the other was going. But we knew we needed about 10 amps. So I figured out all the engineering to get the right size wire to get 10 amps by the time I'm over here to see some damage from a windstorm we had that year.
Yeah.
A tree fell, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. There was no snow. Anyway, so what we did is we tried it out. We had been doing our main lines up there, so we knew I had a little bit of an oversized wet line. So the it pumps up 1,500 taps. It's about 100 feet vertical, 800 feet distance. We ran a 3/4 line. Would have been less friction with one, but it would have more, flow back because it's got to come up over the hill and down. But it's in the vacuum system. So the beauty of that, you don't need a tank. And the hard part about vacuum is getting the sap out of the system. That's where your problems come. So you're not doing that. You don't have to pull the sap against the vacuum. So you run a smaller pump because 28 inches of vacuum is like pumping 60 feet of elevation. So you had 60 feet and 80 feet, you got 140 feet, you need a pretty big pump.
Right.
But basically, we're only pumping 80 feet. And it's never had a hitch. We have a little 500 watt heater on a thermostat, keeps it 38 in there. Shut the door, 2 LED lights. It's been amazing. So we had 200 taps over here. We said, hey, I bet we could do this with a 12 volt battery because no way we're going to run power for 200 taps. It would cost, most of a mile back. So we're going to go straight here. Anyway, so we wanted to do the same thing with 12 volt. And I know a lot of people have 200 taps or 300, where they use those lifts.
Sure.
The lifts are terrible when you're running high vacuum because the only way it's going to lift is if you let air in. They're so tight, the lifts don't work. And once you let air in, not only does the lift lose a little bit, you can't figure out where you got a leak or it's the air, and that air will freeze up the whole system beyond the lift early. So it's not just the 50 or 60 taps on the lift, it's everything. So this we tried lifting 200 taps 4 times, 7 feet apiece. Yeah, we might get 12 inches of vacuum at the bottom where most of the taps were. And it just was all problematic. And
So you have vacuum on both sides?
So we ran, this is the dry line, wet line here, coming up. So we only had a wet line here before. So we knew we had to run a dry line when we did all the lines up here. So the first year we just took the vacuum off the top of the wet line, a little bit farther downhill, and went over the hill. And the pump line we pumped up into the same wet line. So 2 years ago we put in the dry. We have a wet and dry sector. And here's kind of interesting because we went from 1.25 right here. We're going to back up. See where it goes to 1.25?
Yep.
That's a dry line. So why did we keep the wet line at 1.25 and the dry line goes to inch? That's kind of backwards thinking. Well, I'll tell you why. Because we put a sleeve in and we couldn't get 2.25 lines through it.
Gotcha.
But we needed the bigger wet line because that's the pump line, and it's only 300 taps up here.
I got you.
So 1 inch is plenty, but when you're pumping, you might overwhelm the 1 inch. So we said that'll work, and it has. So it's a little backwards, but sometimes you got to go with the flow.
I agree.
We didn't literally. We were going under the line here, so the sleeve wasn't big enough. So anyway, this owl's been up here today.
Was it like a 2-inch?
That was an inch and a.
What's the size of the pipe in the ground?
It was a 4 inch, and we couldn't. I think it was 3 inch. I can't remember. It was probably was a 3 inch because you couldn't get 2.25. So 4 inch, we would have got it through. We were like, oh, well, at least we didn't get that right. we worked it out. So this is the taps and blue coming down this way.
Okay.
The blue line over here is the pump line coming up.
Yep.
And you can see it. Maybe it should back up here. So that's
we can walk right over and look at it if you want.
Yeah, let's walk right over here. We might as well walk down there too, so we can it'll be easier. We may not get out of this hole.
All right, so this is the 12-volt pumping. So instead of using a sap ladder or a lift,
you can see the station down there.
I see the solar panels on
200
top.
feet down there.
Yeah.
This is our wet line, and it turns to 1 inch here. And so what we wanted to do was keep the most taps we could, and this comes about 4 or 5%. We wanted to keep it without. We don't want to put any more than we had to on the lift. So this is that. This blue tubing. So the green tubing's non-lifted or non 12-volt station. The blue tubing goes to the 12-volt station.
Gotcha.
And there was we used to pump it over the road, so we went under the road there, so that we didn't have to go over the road. And there's like 30 taps that look like they should go into the system direct, but they come down here. It worked pretty well. And so this is the dry line ending right here. This is the end of the dry line. So we've hooped this line, I don't know, there's 50, 60 taps up there, hooped up over into the dry line. And the dry line just keeps going and down to ends up down there, and this is the high point. It's going down that way. So there's another line coming in. You see spin sealed loop saddles like we showed you before. We had a leak on this on one of the silicone. I siliconed a couple of these spin seals. I wasn't sure if they were leaking. They don't leak now, I know that. We weren't sure if that was. This is a saddle patch. So this is some older pipe, probably had a hole in it. Oh, I think there was a woodpecker hole here. And so we have some gasket material we buy. It's got sticky back. It's food grade, gas resistant, UV resistant. We stick it on the hole, and then we can twist tie it or put a clamp over it. And that's how we fix a lot of leaks. And it doesn't restrict any flow. Ice chunks can go by.
So there's 5 pounds you're losing right there on that tap. I can't see that. There.
Oh, no, that tree, so that probably leaked. We probably pulled that a couple days ago. There's been a few, it's getting late. These trees were tapped on December 7th.
Okay.
And so December 7th, and probably a week ago, we pulled that tap because it was probably a little bit dry or something.
I got you.
And what we do is we'll re-drill way down low if it's early in the year. When you get to the last 25% of the year, we cap them.
Yeah.
You're just not going to do it. We're not going to re-drill. So this is your pump line coming in. And so you can see if you try to get it and come in down, you probably could have come a little higher in, but it works. It comes in,
sure,
heads downhill.
And this is the wet line on the system.
This is the wet line that's 1.25 inch. And then this is a hoop to the dry line. There's your dry line that goes up and drops in, and everything's going that way.
So let's go look at this pump.
And again, we did not release it. That's the key. Because once you release, now you got to pump a whole line all the way over the hill. We just pumped it in with the regular stuff.
I got you.
We're still running 28 inches plus of vacuum up here. You see no loss of vacuum and none at the station. Another nice thing is, on the lines on the station, we have monitors. So if something does happen, one time, the battery goes low, and then it backs up, and as soon as it does, we see it at the sugar house. We come over here and swap batteries. And that doesn't happen very often if it's sunny, because we have 200 watt solar panels. They were $200.
I see that.
And the first year we didn't have them. We had to swap batteries every other day. Now it's like once a week. And we're trying our first lithium-ion batteries, because they should pump all the way down on the voltage, whereas the regular marine batteries, it gets down below 11 amps. they'll 11 volts. They won't pump. It won't pump. We don't have enough oomph to pump.
Gotcha.
It doesn't pump quick enough on a big run.
So this little shanty right here is handling what, 300 taps?
There's about 200. So we did the first year we tried this. We just put we had a little, I don't know, a little doghouse. It wasn't big enough. But it worked so well, we're like, we're going to do this right. So we got the excavator here. We put some Surepack under it. And I used to have an outside wood boiler at my house, and it was 28 years old, and I replaced it with an air-to-water heat pump. So we had the concrete slab for that. We took the concrete slab, got the thing, tipped it just a tiny bit, dropped it in the hole here. Took some used roofing, because I said it's probably raw if you put regular siding on it. I think probably put some new roofing on here, a couple of pieces. We had the wood kicking around. Alex built this thing. My partner, he's really good. You see how he did the door. Here's the sap lines coming in. You see the tubing's running pretty good today right there. These trees, see them coming in. This is the property line.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, see right here. You can see it moving.
Look at that.
Right up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a little. It wasn't bad.
I can't believe I didn't bite it coming down here. So look at that sap running here, Fred.
I see it.
How old are these taps?
Oh, these taps. We tapped this pretty late. I think early February, because we didn't want to deal with the pump station till later. I think we would do it earlier because this is pretty much a south exposure here. So yeah, these trees are humming in right nicely. You can see the red. We have different color spouts.
Yeah, I see that.
Check valves with the Lapierre stubbies.
So you like the Lapierre stubbies more?
I really like them. They work. You can punch them right in there. And I don't know. They seal. They don't come off. Huh. I don't think we had one come off. We've had actually the tubing come off of here, or something hits it and just snap it right off. But
you've never seen it.
2 years ago, we had first year using these. We didn't put the stubbies in tight. We notice now we got a tool that gets in between there and a pop them. And if all comes out together, you whack it in harder and then it wedges it out. Works pretty well. So this is the station. So we just got some galvanized roofing for the inside, insulated it really well with rock solid, really. You see the sap looks pretty nice in there.
Looks nice and clean.
Yeah. So we have a pump inside as the backup. This is the primary. I think I can't pull it out because I don't have a. Usually we have a little.
You need a tool?
Yeah, I should have brought one. We could pull it out and show you.
I have this.
The screwdriver?
Yeah.
That'll work.
This thing saved my life. Do you want
just shut this down?
Is it a nut driver?
It's not a nut driver.
Yeah, it's a nut driver. It's a 5/16. Let me shut it off here. So we can shut it off here.
So this whole system's 12 volt, huh?
Yeah, so this is important. Here, we didn't do it today. We probably should have. I don't think it's going to freeze tonight, so we will do it. Is we can put a check valve in here. So there's no check valve right now. Here we go. Should be stainless valves here, but we're swapping out all our brass for stainless. It's kind of an So this is a check valve, so we can drop the check valve right in here. It's made so it only goes one direction, the right direction. And so what this does is we'll take it out when it's freezing up. We'll come up here. Got to turn the heat on anyway. So that way.
So what heats it?
Right there.
Okay.
Cheapest, smallest camp heater. And this building's so tight. If it's 25 at night, we know it's going to shut. We just keep the door shut. We opened them up today. Alex kind of cleaned it up for you. I don't know. He's running this battery. So that's another battery. We have a third one. You only really need two. And so he made it all easy to clip. So when you want to change it, you just clip it. This is one of Clayton's at MES. Mm-hmm. Made us a nice little control. Normally those are 24 volt. He made one special for us, 12 volts. And so we've got two probes in here, turns the pump on, pumps it up. As I said, the check valve on a day like today, you're not going to heat the sap in that pipeline. So we'll put it in. It's less pumping it's less use of this battery.
Right, because it doesn't have to overcome the spring.
It's not going back and forth. And it's a 3/4 pump line. There's when you do this in sizing your pump line, you got to figure you got friction or more sap coming back. So you're trying to get a balance there. So this was an old mechanical releaser. Somebody had it. They bought a new one. I'd done some work for them, and I said, "What are you doing with that thing?" Nothing. They just gave it to me. So we repurposed it. You can see we used some of their old holes put some of ours in. So that releaser, you know, you can find a used old mechanical releaser or something. Doesn't take much. We came out of the bottom and then we came over to this. We do have a second pump in there. It's just sitting here. You know, if that one dies, we can put this one in and pull it out. But
Gotcha.
did I just put your...
Right there.
Let's pull this out. It's going to turn on here when it gets up to about there, but we got time. It's not running super hard, so there's not that many taps. Oh, right over here is the solar. Can you get this?
Yeah.
It's got 13 point whatever volts.
So that's the
on that.
brand. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, you can see it.
So that's the.
So that whole thing was $200.
Wow.
But
So
I
that
was like,
and both
Yeah.
panels.
Alex made the panels so they come off. The only problem is raining. It comes right on you.
Yeah.
But better to have the snow come off and not be on the roof. So he did a really nice job. Look at the doors, though. I'll show you the doors. So look, he beveled these doors so they fit like, you're getting, you see how they're cut?
Oh yeah.
It's really nice. We need to stain it. So that's probably this summer's job.
12-volt pump station.
Yeah, so
You know, every little hobby.
vacuum here. You know, if you did a lift, you wouldn't have 28 inches of vacuum down here.
That's good.
There's no loss of vacuum. So it's like, so that's, you know, we started doing the numbers and it doesn't take long, you know. We got this for pretty much free, you know, there's a few valves. You got the battery was one of the most expensive things because these batteries that were, they're not the lithium ones, were, I think they were like, I can't remember. It was like $400 for two of them. The lithium one we got, but we didn't have the right charger. So we tried it last year and it wasn't charged up right. And we were like, oh, this thing doesn't work. So this year my friend said, oh, you got to get the right charger. So it seems to be working. I don't ask Alex how long he's put this in, but I think it's been in there for 2 or 3 days. And this one will probably, even if it's down to 8 volts, it'll still pump because they don't lose, they keep going. Whereas the other ones get below 11, 10 or 11. It'll charge up to about 14 volts.
It's like the ever-ready battery. They just keep on going.
Let's see if we can get this out so we can see it.
Is this the pump?
Yeah, this is the pump.
12-volt pump. Is this like an Amazon purchase?
Oh, yeah. What do you got? A little stainless. It's a screw pump. I think it's about a quarter horsepower.
It's a
So
Haroon solar.
yeah, it's a solar well pump. And it'll do it seems to keep up here. I think it's doing about 5 gallons a minute. There's a bunch of
get
them.
in there. So it's a model. It's right there.
Yeah, there you go.
3SYDC 12 volts.
Yep. That was $100 including shipping.
So this is this the primary?
Yeah, that's the one we're using now. The other one we used for a while because Alex didn't like it at the beginning of the year. It made a lot of noise. I said, how well did you rinse it out last year? I'm actually going to have, I'm giving a talk at Bascom's about how to end your season and set up to be productive at the next season.
We always say we'll get it at the end of the season, and then we don't.
Yeah. My argument is how you end the season is how you start the next season.
That's interesting.
And it's crucial that you get right off and you're going. Otherwise, you're losing sap. You get,
That's interesting. So that's a 12-volt.
Yeah. So we'll get this thing. We'll fire it up here in a minute.
Cool.
I think this is just something that, you could use if you were flat and you had to get up over somewhere. But lifts are just, when you're trying to run high vacuum, we're working on a thing I'll show you down there for like the 40 tap lifts and stuff. We've got it almost figured out. Got the same thing, but on a smaller scale as this. This is how we did our 12 volt, our 110 volt, or 240 on the other side. It's got 2 vertical releasers. We worked in the shop. We checked them all. Stainless bottom, stainless piping to a deep well pump. It's a 1 horse that gets it over the hill. But it's the same idea. We have a check valve we can take in or take out. And I like to put it in when I can because that means that you're always pushing the sap. It's not
back and forth.
Back and forth. You got some sap that never leaves. The heater's great. I mean, we won't go through the whole tank all year.
No kidding.
Yeah, and we'll come up at night, take the check valve out, start the heater. But that doesn't happen very often because it's not. And the check valve we have to get out. It's freezing. But the heater, I don't think we've turned it on. Well, I think we had it on over this cold spell, 4 days. Yeah, I think that was good. Well, let's get the sap back in. Oh, she just started. So this is just to bleed any air. It just, you keep a little crack. It keeps the vacuum.
Comes right back in a loop.
Yeah, it just keeps the vacuum. But
So which one's
kind of
actually?
a noisy little pump, but it works.
So that's the one pumping right now.
Yeah. So you watch it.
And you're
we
pumping.
just tripped it when I got the air. It tripped the probe because we were almost full.
I got you.
I kicked up some crap that was in there too.
Hold on 1 second.
No, that is
And that's sap coming in from all the taps.
Yeah, that's some taps. There's some more over there. You can see there's 3 lines coming in here.
Oh yeah, you got sap coming in still.
Wow.
All right. So what season update? Like where are you at on pounds here?
6 1/4.
6 1/4.
I don't know if we'll make 7, but we should make 6 3/4.
Okay.
Be close to 7. And people around here, it was terrible. They were 70%, 80%. Most have quit. I think the one difference of who's quit and who's not, those who have check valves and those who don't.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
We made a mistake on not using check valves this year. It's the year I should have. So the check valve's really there during when you're running, and then you pull it out when you know it's going to freeze, so all the sap runs back.
Yeah. So now the sap won't go back and forth. It's not going to freeze tonight.
I got you.
It's like 38. It was supposed to be 52 today here. I don't know. What was it up in Franklin County today? Was it once?
50s.
50s. We were 43 was our high.
Well, we could see it.
Yesterday was 38.
I had the AC on the truck, and then we got here. Fred was making fun of me. So is it the first probe that shuts it off, or the second?
Yeah, the first one. The second one is the continuity. You have to have continuity
Yep.
cross.
Yep.
And the third, the higher one is the start. So that's a pump down system.
I got you. So when it hits that
It's almost down there.
when it hits that pin right there,
We'll get it.
it'll shut down. So I got 500 taps coming into a sap tank, and then I use the vacuum off the bottom
Yeah.
to bring it up, and I use a wet dry line, and I push it right into the wet line. Well, what I should do is this. I can get rid of an entire tank.
Yeah, that's what we didn't want to do. We didn't want to have a tank way in the back. And this is simple. And if you get 2 of them, then you can clean one while the other. But we just shut the lines really quick and cleaned it again.
I might just build one of these just to do it.
Oh, it's fun. It's not hard.
Well, what I might do, I have one of these.
Yeah, you have an old release?
Yeah, I'm just going to bring it to you guys. Say, hey, make me one of them things.
Yeah, it's not too hard.
I mean, wonder what one of these, like,
This is about to shut
I have a, band sawmill. I can even make a shed.
Yeah. I mean, we had a bunch of lumber for something else, but we added onto our tank house, so we had extra lumber. It's red pine. My grandfather planted it in 1948. Those trees that came from.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. She's going to quit soon.
You do want to keep the probes clean, so that you only.
Oh, I see the probe. There it is.
Yeah, it's coming out right now. And shell out. As soon as that foam gets in it.
Huh.
And I guess he's got it set so that inner pump stays basically under the line.
Yep.
You could also set it up so that if the one pump didn't pump, the other would pump. But we're here pretty much all the time.
It's going to stop soon.
I think there's a little foam around it. You can go down a little further. It's pretty fun. There we go.
No more continuity.
Yeah, it just pumped about 30 gallons probably.
And then it'll fill up to the
20.
top one again.
Yeah, it'll go up and then it'll turn on again.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then the only time this has failed is when we should have kept an eye on the battery. We were busy doing other stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome, Dan.
Yeah, I thought this would be really good.
Yeah, it's hard for some of the small producers to relate to the large operation type
Yeah.
things, and
This is a small guy's thing.
I got one troll getting on there. I think he's a buddy of somebody that isn't a fan of mine, so he's just being a troll, on everything. So he's like, I have 300 taps. I can't relate. He watches 30-minute videos in 30 seconds and comments.
I always figure I can learn something from anybody, even the smallest producer. And I always say, the more you know, the less you know. When you think you know it all, you don't know anything.
That's true. I like that little addition.
I kind of came up with that 20 years ago, and it's always been my motto. Just keep learning. Learn from anybody. Be humble. Everyone's got something to teach you.
True.
I see so many people that Clayton sees it too. They come in and say, "Oh, here's my pump," and they don't know it's not going to start until there's sap coming into their.
Or there's a mouse nested in there.
Yeah. So those are the things you take care of at the end of the season, and just it's about how to prepare for a successful season, starting from ending the season before.
All
So
right.
I got a bunch of
Bascom's open house. I'll put a link down below.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I see you got a stone wall here.
That's the property line.
I got you.
Yeah.
Where'd Fred go?
I don't know. He's sitting sleeping in the machine or something. We got bored. So we have. This is kind of important because this is so tight. We didn't do this with our other pump station.
So you have air vents.
Yeah, we take that foam out and because otherwise it'll mold in there.
Yeah, you just, yeah.
So we take them out for the summer and the air.
Sure.
And it works.
Squirrels can't chew through that concrete.
Yeah, we put notice the screens on there.
I did see
It's
that.
all screens, so they can't get in there. That's pretty much mouse and squirrel proof and whatever else.
Sure. So how many gallons you start up with today?
Sap?
Yeah.
We got about 13,000 gallons of sap because I know our tanks are about 6,500 each. They're actually close to 7. They weren't quite full, so I figured 65. So that's 13,000. Between 5 last night and 2:30 this morning when the alarm rang and woke me up.
Yeah.
I started up the RO and
At 2:30?
yeah. So I was out in the sugar house for an hour. Went back to bed. Down to the diner at 6:30. Took a nap before I went to the chiropractor. So here's a joke. Hey, I get this. So I'm on the select board. Been on the select board for a year. I'm chairman now in my town. And I went to the chiropractor because I shoveling snow. I tweak my sacroiliac joint, SI joint every once in a while. And he'll get me right back pretty quick. So I went into him. He says, "Boy, you're crooked." And I realized, man, I've been a politician for a year and I'm already crooked.
Yep.
Community service, 2 years of it. Well,
So select board is like a local community.
yeah. It's interesting.
Is it like township trustee where we live? I don't know.
No, we have a town manager. We didn't have one. We had to hire one. It's been interesting. I've been down to town a lot lately. It's like any small town.
Sure.
We have a leak and it freezes the main line. I love the black main line. So here's a little tidbit. Everybody wants to have the blue main line so it doesn't get too hot. You're tapping in early December and you're going through the winter. Hot is not your problem. Hot is 1 or 2 days at the end of the year. It's freezing up and you want it to thaw.
Yeah.
I will not use anything with black main line ever again.
Huh.
And the other nice thing is when you have a leak and it frosts,
You
so
can see it,
you can see the white frost, like you can see it way up the hill. Oh, it's way up there.
Contrast.
Yep, the contrast, and you can find that.
So what you're saying is the blue line just shows you where it freezes.
No, the blue line.
You can see all the ice in your blue lines.
Yeah, probably. There's something that hit the tubing right there, and I should probably pick that one up.
You want me to grab it real quick?
I'll grab it right here.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
I think you can just slide it over.
I want to get it on camera that I did something.
Oh yeah, okay. Here's Nate, Mr. YouTube himself, heading over. Faithful YouTube guy. Getting some work out of him. Free labor. You'll get there sooner or later. Yep, there you go. It looks like he's putting up the flag at Iwo Jima. So we split, this is our main road up here. So we kind of split the dry line on either side. We buried it up the road so we could split it because we used to cross the road and do weird stuff. We try to make all our junctions on a road. So you never have to hardly get off to check them.
I got you.
We pretty much got it done now. So
All the junctions
all the
on a
junctions
road.
are within, a few feet of the road. There's
I
another
got
one
you.
We like doing the T's more than the Y's, but sometimes we have to come up with a Y. It comes in with a Y. We're all using all 1-inch pipe now. Not because, like people say, the 3/4 backs up. We never have that problem. The spin seal just works better on 1 inch.
Gotcha.
So if I had to start all over again, I wouldn't use it. But
You wouldn't
it
use
works
any
fine.
3/4.
No, just because the spin seal works better, I'd use one.
Gotcha.
And it's less tools in the toolbox. J.R. Sloan always, I like when he says, I use 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and nothing else. Less tools in the toolbox.
Yep, less
Which makes
parts
a lot
to
of sense.
carry.
But if you've already used a bunch of 1 1/4 and 3/4 and 1 inch and 1.5 inches and 2, he uses 2 inch too. It's better.
So you get really used to looking at something.
Stand of trees that's got a lot of regen of maple in it coming up. And you see, we're gonna tap down to about 8 or 9 inches. And the way because we're thinning all the time, the tops are really nice. They're healthy. We tap below the lateral a lot. The green tubing is centerwoods. It's one system, and the blue tubing over here. We did the green tubing last year. The blue tubing is what we call our southwoods. That comes into a different system.
Gotcha.
So people get kind of lost. And I've been doing more name tagging of the main lines. I got to finish that up. That's probably a summer project. I can get it all done. Because it's nice to know you see the name tag. Okay, I'm here. You look at your phone. You got the monitor system.
I feel like we're coming in a different way than we've.
Yeah, we are. We came up the valley over there.
Okay.
Down. We came up that. We call that Big Valley. We have a line that goes all the way up, and it goes from east to west. So half the valley's on the south side, half the valley's on the north. The north side of the valley is the south-facing stuff that's warmer.
Okay.
And you can be tapping there. Like we'll get in the morning, we'll tap where it's cold. We tap on the south side. Later in the day, we'll get on the north side because it's a huge difference.
Oh my, yeah.
It's amazing. That always amazes me. So this just went under a road. So we went under a road, sleeved it, insulated it, come out. We haven't had any of those freeze. In the old days, they used to freeze a lot because they didn't insulate them. We always had leaks. We still have any leaks. We didn't go in the woods for 3 weeks. We had nothing. Nothing froze up. Only when we had inversions. And they were clearly inversion issues.
What does that mean?
Inversion where it's cold down low and warm up high. So
I got you.
You got clear sky. You guys are flat, so you don't deal with it. So right here, I've had days. So the sugar house is right down there.
Yep.
My house is right up here. You can turn around, you can see it. Get a video, see it up there in the end?
Yeah.
10 degrees difference. From there to there.
Okay.
And that's 300 feet, not even, I don't know, it's 250 feet elevation. One night, years ago, I had one of those laser shooters, the temperatures, so I said, it's running hard and it's 27. It's got to be warmer up the hill. I want to do an experiment. So I went out, 27, I zapped a few trees, 27. Had someone boiling. I said, watch the place for half an hour, 20 minutes. I'm going to go up. So I got on the four-wheeler, it was dark, and I came up a little ways, zapped it. It's 28. A little farther, it's 32. A little farther, 35.
You're going up with the temperatures.
When I got to the top of the woods, it was 40 degrees.
So it was warmer.
27 to 40. And that happens all the time.
That's called inversion.
Yeah, and what happens is it'll freeze down in the low, it trickles in.
So now the sap has nowhere to go.
And so what happens when it lets go, we call that ice out. And that's where people get caught with their releasers, because you can't get a pump big enough. If you got some of those guys up north have 1,000 foot of elevation change, and big pipelines, and when it unloads, you're talking thousands of gallons of sap in matter of minutes. You just can't have a pump that.
So if it's really important that everything is draining in case you get an inversion.
Yeah, even with an inversion, because it'll trickle in, and it trickles
and it'll start freezing.
It'll just start freezing.
I got you.
That's what I say when we know we didn't have any leaks. It was inversion freezing.
I got
It'll
you.
freeze at the bottom, and it's usually on the branch lines that have a little bit of elevation. The ones that don't. It's amazing. It's like
I have inversion right now. My toes are cold.
Yeah, it's cold. It's raw today. Yeah, you want to go where it's warm. Go over in the tropics of Franklin County. I'll have to text Jeff Cooley and tell him you guys didn't like it here because it was too cold.
It's definitely cold.
It's raw. It's probably 38, 39. I've seen all this. So
Yeah.
it's a stop, and we'll get you guys down to shoot.
Cool.
Hey, let's look and see what the vacuum's doing.
Sure.
Be a good thing. I'd like to see. So I can tell by what the percentage of this pump's running. It gives you a percentage, which is basically if you had a hertz on a drive.
Yeah.
Plug in a hertz. It's the
Same thing.
So,
60 hertz is 100%, right?
yeah, 28.7 running 34%. That's a 15 horsepower pump on 22,500 taps.
So it's not running right now
We're
because
running basically, if that's running at that's basically 5 horsepower to run 22,500
I can't
taps.
hear it.
Yeah, it's a screw pump. So 5 horsepower, 22,500 taps, 28.7, and we're carrying, was 28 up
I
there.
got you.
Yeah,
What percentage are you running?
it's running 34%. So
I got you.
So it's a 15. We're only using a third of that power.
I got you. Now my dad, old man Bissell says 45 hertz is like 50%,
Yeah.
and then 30 hertz is like 25%.
So we're at 25%.
Yeah.
I don't know, because this reads percentage, and I don't know what that is.
Right.
But I know
60 should be 100 and 00.
we see this go up. We always like to run it no more than really 50%. Then it goes higher. We know we got a leak. Like we turned this on after the snowstorm. We didn't have any leaks. We were like,
And this is the one vacuum pump for the whole woods.
we have a backup.
Okay.
This is the only one we use. We have a 20 horse liquid ring that's a backup.
Very cool.
Yeah, you want to have a cheap backup and a really good primary.
Sure.
I think guys are having pretty good luck with those little dry screw pumps. We'll see how they hold up over.
I'm going to make a video of Clayton when I get there.
Yeah.
He's got an opinion on that. He's been tearing them apart. And
Yeah, he tore one apart that I know of. At the time we had to rebuild it. So it was so many hours, and what we don't know is that was to that.
well, I've heard that they need it's the cleaning process. And I'm thinking to myself, what, do you got to clean it every 10 minutes or what?
But I do know this, the oil liquid ring, you can turn down, so you have a liquid ring pump, you have to keep at least 30, 40 hertz on it, or you won't make the ring.
Right.
Main pump, same thing, you got to keep it spinning. Screw pump, you can go down, but I think the dry screws, you can't go as low as you can with an oil. This will go down to like 10%, and then it starts to shut off and start up again. It's like, there's not much coming out of that pump. And as I said, we've been tight for weeks.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. It's always fun to visit Dan and have our beliefs challenged, and also learn some things about potentially using 12 volts to pump syrup. So, hey, thanks for stopping by. Catch you in the next episode.